Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangolangayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyahevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. First of all, I offer my respectful obeisances unto our most beloved spiritual master, Sridhar Swami Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, our Srila Gurudev, by whose mercy we have all assembled here today to hear Harikatha. Then offer my respectful obeisances unto our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragya Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and all Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga, all Vaishnavas of past, present and future, especially Sriman Premananda Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas present here today. So, Prabhuji ordered me to speak something about the glories of Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And I promise you, I'm not going to take too long, because I know we're all want to hear from Bhavadiya Vartam, the words coming from the mouth of the Vaishnavas that actually have some power to purify the soul. But I don't know what that means. So some of the things that I liked about Param Gurudev, he in one sense is kind of like my idol. He's Acharya Keshari, he's the personification. Acharya means he teaches by example. So I guess that kind of means our idol, someone that we can aspire to be like. What is he teaching by example? What is it that we want to do? And he always served in so many different ways. In the times of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he managed all the months, he managed everything was done by Srila Param Gurudev. And one thing that I think that's really special about Param Gurudev is, I guess, how do I say this? Because every Acharya is unique in themselves. Every Acharya is completely special and the bestest and the most powerful and super awesome. But I like Param Gurudev, and I think there's something very special about him, possibly even more so than the other ones, even though technically you can't say that. But our line comes from Srila Param Gurudev. We're coming in his line from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And you see, what is it that Param Gurudev has provided? What has he given to the Sampradaya? He gave Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who did the biggest preaching in all of the history of our Sampradaya. It came from Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Therefore it says, Palina Parichayate, you can understand the value of a tree by what are the fruits that it produces. But not only did Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj give us Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he also gave us our Srila Gurudev. And I think everybody here has been personally touched by the power of our Srila Gurudev, which is coming from Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. But not only did he give us our Srila Gurudev, he also gave us Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. And those who have had association have been touched and know what's the power that's coming. And those of us who maybe have not had the association of Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, who definitely had association of his disciples, and seeing what are those beautiful things that are coming. And disciple gets the energy, everything is coming down through the Guru Parampara, through Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. We also have Bhaktivedanta Chirika Maharaj, and so much beautiful, powerful preaching. We see that our Navadip Dham Parikrama, established by Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj, is bigger than all the other parikramas put together. So you can see by the power of Srila Param Gurudev. Those of you know, maybe I study a little business thing. I got this email that came, said, how can you see the power of a leader? It says the only way you can really tell is to check the followers. So you see how powerful is Param Gurudev. What quality of people are following him? Like Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, like our Srila Gurudev, like Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj. But then also, not just the quality, but at the quantity too. So many people, the biggest preaching that our Sampradaya is known, is being empowered and catalyzed by our Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So we know that When I asked Srila Gurudev, what is our mission, what is our purpose? He said to make ourselves Krishna conscious and to make our whole world Krishna conscious. Where did he get that mood from? He got it from his Gurudev, Bhakti Goswami Maharaj. So those of you who know, coming in our Sangha, Association of the Vaishnavas, how much emphasis is given on following sadhana properly, following bhajan. So the Bhakti Maharaj, this was also the Gurudev teaching us Vrajamanda Parikramā, everything. But then also, how big is the preaching of our samsara, our acharyas? So on the day after the disappearance day of our Param Gurudev, also one thing I just have to say is, I remember when Srila Gurudev was sick and he wasn't able to make it for the first day of Kartik. He was in Delhi in the hospital, but then he spoke over the phone and gave class. And I was expecting to hear some philosophy and Siddhanta, and Gurudev was just crying. He was crying over the phone saying I was a worm in stool, I was completely lost by the material energy, and my Srila Param Gurudev came and delivered me and took me out. And that time we could see something a little about how tight or strong the relationship was between our Gurudev and Srila Param Gurudev. And I pray that we can also have that type of relationship in Sambandha with our Srila Gurudev and serve them in some ways, no matter how wretched and fallen I may be.
First of all, I offer my sastanga dandavat pranam thousands of times unto the lotus feet of Paramarajyatam Sri Guru Pada Paramam Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnu Pahara Stotra Sadashi Shriman Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my sastanga dandavat pranam thousands of times unto the lotus feet of my Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga and unto the lotus feet of Param Gurudev, whose Tirubhakti we celebrated yesterday, and we are celebrating today also, and continuing to celebrate also tomorrow. And I offer my sastanga dandavat pranams unto all Vaishnavas, Siddhani Sannyas Gan, Vaishnavi, Brahmachari, my humble respects. So, Prabhuji has given the order to say a few words and offer some heartfelt Shraddha Pushpanjali to the Lotus feet of Param Gurudev, Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Most of us who are sitting here today have heard so much Harikatha already, and also during when we had the good fortune to hear directly from Srila Gurudev now every year in this Kartika month, the glories of Param Gurudev from Gurudev and all near and dear followers. And Param Gurudev's life, there's so many teachings, so many pastimes. It's very hard to, it's impossible in one day, 2 days, even 3 days to cover everything. But try to say a few things. That when Param Gurudev, he was maybe 15 years old, his two aunties, name was Saroja Vasini, and one other auntie, they took Param Gurudev to Mayapur during the time of Navadvip Parikram. And after Navadvip Parikram, Prabhupada was sitting there in the mud, and he was talking to Param Gurudev's two aunties, and he was saying, oh, in the future, I'm going to preach everywhere. And on every 8-9 islands of Navadvip, I'm going to establish Gaudiya Math. And after establishing Gaudiya Math in each of the 9 islands, I'm going to establish Gaudiya Math in all the major cities of India. And after that, I'm going to establish Gaudiya Math in all the major cities of the world. And it's why he was talking, describing how he was going to spread and preach the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then one of the aunties, they asked, oh, Prabhupada, this is very nice, very wonderful. But even now we don't have any brahmacharis even to ring the bells during Arati. So who is going to manage all these maths? That time Prabhupada pointed towards Vinod Bihari. We heard Param Gurudev. So Vinod, he will manage everything. And really, Prabhupada words became true. Because later, after a few years, when Param Gurudev, he was studying in he was studying in college, and that time Chaitanya Charitamrita used to be a part of the curriculum in India. So there when he was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was one slok that he read, said, Bharata janma hoile manusya janmajar, janmana sarthak karo para upakar. So anyone who has taken birth in India, it's their duty to make their own life successful and then try to help others. And this struck his heart, this struck very deeply in his heart, so why am I wasting my time studying and following so many material pursuits? And he left home, he left everything, he came, he surrendered himself under the lotus feet of Jagadguru Prabhupada. And it was that time Sri Navadip Dham Parikrama was going on. Prabhupada, he gave so many different responsibilities to Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. And that time also Prabhupada, he gave mantras to Sri Vinod Bihari. When he gave mantras, he gave all the mantras to Vinod Bihari, but he did not give Guru mantra. Then Vinod Bihari, humbly he folding his hands, he prayed to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, is it necessary for me to receive mantras, Guru mantras elsewhere? Then Prabhupada that time he had not been giving Guru mantras to anyone. He used to give all other mantras, but Guru mantras he was not giving. But by the causeless mercy of Param Guru, by requesting in such a humble way, and having eagerness and desire to take mantras from Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada for the first time he gave Guru mantra. So it is by Param Gurudev's mercy that the Guru mantra that we are chanting now, it has come into the world by Srila Param Gurudev. Coming through Srila Saraswati Thakur, Param Gurudev to our Srila Gurudev. So Vinod Bihari, he used to then take up so many responsibilities, taking care of Srila Prabhupada's mission, managing the mosque, taking care of the land, and even not only that, he used to go out preaching, he used to go to Calcutta, taking one small little donation box in his hand. There was a slot small enough that one anna could fit inside that box, not more. Why? Because Prabhupada wanted that you're going not for collecting money, you're going to speak Harikatha. By speaking Harikatha, the jivas of this world will get benefit, and desire will come in their heart to perform bhakti, and greed will come, and they will give up everything, and naturally they will come and surrender their lives, and that time will get much more than just money. So, one day Prabhupada was driving, going in his car, and he saw that under a tree, Vinod Bihari, he was lying there, and he was using that donation box as a pillow. He was taking some rest. Prabhupada, when he saw this, tears came in his eyes. So, Vinod Bihari is coming from a landlord family, such a wealthy family. In his life there, he never had anything, nothing short. He had all facilities. Now giving up all those pleasures, all those comforts, he's come here for my service. Now he's undergoing so much hardships. And Param Gurudev, tears will come in his eyes, seeing Vinod Bihari's dedication and service. One time all the Brahma, that time there wasn't so much money, so there was no rice that day, only a little bit of rice was there in the godown. So that time, and there was no sabji, so they took some wild shark that was growing on the side of the road, and they boiled that shark, and everyone was eating maybe one handful of rice. And there was also no plates, no leaf plates, and so they were eating off the floor. Prabhupada walked by and saw Vinod Bihari there eating like this in such an austere manner. He said, oh, there are no plates, there is no rice in the godown. Then Vinod Bihari, Brahmacharya said, oh Guruji, we are practicing austerities. And this way, they did not want to bring any bad news, did not want to create any pain or discomfort into the heart of Prabhupada. Vinod Bihari is so dear to Prabhupada that Prabhupada never used to address him with formality. He used to call him Tui. In Hindi, there are three ways of addressing people, Tu, Tum and Aap. And Prabhupada used to address everyone, even his own disciple in the highest respect, Aap. you. But for Vinod Bihari, he used to call him Tui. So in a very intimate and close way. And sometimes even at midnight, Vinod Bihari would be going out managing, doing so much service. He would come back midnight and he would knock on the door to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would wake up from his sleep, open the door and let Vinod Bihari inside. And he would take rest there. Do service for Srila Prabhupada. So, Vinod Bihari, he took so much responsibility for the service of Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes he used to ride on horse. So one horse he used to have two, three different kinds of horse. And he used to wear very nice silken clothes from Benares, or nice suits, different clothing. And in this way he used to go and manage it necessary that time because of British rule. So some people from Martin Delhi, they were thinking, oh, Param Gurudev, what kind of Vaishnav is he? He never wearing Vaishnav clothes, he's taking money and spending so much for his own comfort. And he's wasting money and he's not following Saran Bhajan properly. So they wrote one letter of complaint to Srila Prabhupada. Vinod Bihari in this way, he's wasting money and he's not following strictly following Saran Bhajan according to rules and regulations. And they gave a big complaint list. When Prabhupada received this letter, he wrote a letter back. He said, those who do not consider Vinod Bihari Vaishnava, I do not consider them Vaishnava. Vinod Bihari is Vaishnava from birth. And all his acharan, everything is, he surrendered his life totally to my lotus feet, and everything he does is for my lotus feet of Sri Gandhar Vidhari. So those who criticize Vinod Bihari, they don't understand even a sense of Vaishnava. They are not Vaishnava. And this way, Prabhupada, he defended Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. And Prabhupada, he gave title Kriti Ratna, Upadeshak, and so many other titles to Srila Param Gurudev. He gave the title Kriti Ratna. One time there was everything that Param Gurudev did was perfect. Prabhupada had so much desire, he was thinking Bhaktivinoda Thakur had purchased so much land here in Mayapur for the preservation and protection of our Sampradaya of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But now these lands that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has purchased, now they are going into the hands of other people and they are becoming lost and they are not being maintained properly. So specifically Chandrasekhar Bhavan was on Leela Stali, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there, the Muslims, they had, by force they had built one graveyard on that land. So this was disturbing the mind of Srila Prabhupada, saying how we can retrieve this land back. And Param Gurudev, in the middle of the night he calls someone who is brahmacharis, but brothers, and under his guidance they went to that land in the night and they took up all the gravestones and threw in the Ganga. And they brought so many trees and bushes and plants and they planted there in the land. And then this way they cleared the land and they established a beautiful garden there. In the morning when the Muslims woke up, they saw where's our graveyard, where all the graves gone. And they filed a case, complaint to the police. Then the police, they sent an inspector there to come and see. That time, when they came, they saw that this is actually a false complaint. Why? Because there are so many wonderful big trees here, so many bushes, big garden is here. How is it possible that this was before a graveyard? This way they dismissed the complaint, and then that land, the Chandrasekhar Bhavan, came again under the care and custody of Srila Prabhupada. Also in Swananda Sukhada Kunj, there Bhaktivinoda Thakur Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir Srila Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, there Prabhupada's brother, so-called brother Lalita Prasad, he had sat there and he had taken control of that land. So Prabhupada was also feeling very unhappy. Then Param Gurudev, he took so many followers, then taking burning torches in their hands, they took a big party, they came towards the property and began shouting, where is Lalita Prasad, where is Lalita Prasad, in very angry tone. Lalita Prasad so big that a big angry mob was coming, and immediately he ran away from that land. And again that property came under the control and care of Srila Prabhupada. And also the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Param Gurudev also, he was responsible for transferring it from the eastern side of the Ganga back to the western side, Mayapur. So, in this way, Param Gurudev, he performed ideal Guru Seva. And he pleased Prabhupada in so many different ways. One time, Param Gurudev was sitting in his bhajan kutir and he was chanting on his Harinam and he was reading Satsandarbha. That time, one very learned disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who used to work on the publications of Prabhupada, came there. And when he saw Vinod Bihari reading Satsandarbha, he immediately grabbed that book from his hand and said, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you just flipping the pages or do you really understand something?" Then Param Gurudev, he remained calm, he did not say anything. And he said, "If you like, you can ask me any question." Then that devotee, his name was Ananda Vasudev, he said, he began asking so many difficult questions. Praman Tattva, Prameya Tattva, Upasya Tattva, Jeev Tattva, Maya Tattva, so many different questions in different angles. And Bhakti Tattva. And Param Gurudev, one after another, he gave so much, he answered all his questions perfectly, giving quotations from the Sandarbha itself. When Ananda Vasudev heard this, he became astonished. He thought, "Oh, I thought Vinod Bihari is only one manager, one light worker. Prabhupada has kept him here because he knows how to work, so he utilized him, dovetailed his so-called material tendencies in service." But really, now he understood, oh, actually, Vinod Bihari is a great scholar, so much understanding and transcendental knowledge. And he told Prabhupada, and then the Ananta Vasudev, then he began requesting Vinod Bihari to write articles for the Gaudiya. That time, Vinod Bihari, he wrote one article called Mayavadi Ki Jivani. But the article became so big that it was not possible to publish in the Gaudiya. Ananta Vasudev, no, we cannot publish this, it's too big. Prabhupada, no, we have to publish. If we cannot publish it in one time, we publish it in series, no problem, but we have to publish. So Prabhupada read that, he became very, very happy. And after reading that, and hearing all of, seeing Param Gurudev's learned capacity, also Prabhupada, he gave his whole Vedanta library to Param Gurudev. All his books on Vedanta, everything he actually gave into the hands of Vinod Bihari Brahmacharya. And later though, Param Gurudev gave those books to Srila Gurudev, and those books are now still in Govardhan there. They were in Kishori Gaudiya for some years, now they are there in library in Shri, in Giridhari Gaudiya. So, Param Gurudev, in this way he served Prabhupada in so many ways. So much Leela Katha, so many wonderful things. Gurudev also, one thing he used to say that one time when Param Gurudev was in Mathura, the Nimbarka Sampradaya, they wrote one article saying, "Oh, Mahaprabhu is not in the line of Madhvacharya. He actually took some mantra from Mayavadi Sannyas, Keshav Bharati, and they made this big allegation, false allegation like this, and they completely defamed and made out Mahaprabhu's line look very inauthentic and bad." Then Gurudev came and he showed this article to Param Gurudev. Param Gurudev said, "Bring my pen." And Gurudev got the pen and then Param Gurudev began dictating and writing. And he wrote one article, he said, "So you study all the commentaries of our four Sampradayas. There's no mention of a personality in Nimbarka. Ramanujacharya has not mentioned it in his commentary, Madhvacharya has not mentioned it. Vishnu Swami has not mentioned it. Even Nimbarka in his own commentary did not mention of a personality in Nimbarka. This personality in Nimbarka is concocted. It does not exist. There's no evidence in any shastra anywhere that this person exists. Therefore, the Nimbarka Sampradaya that they go under the name Nimbarka, this is all bogus." Then, when the followers of the Nimbarka Sampradaya, they heard this, they became very angry and they put a big court case against Param Gurudev. But then, when the lawyers found out that the court case was against Param Gurudev. They said, oh, we don't advise you going to court against the Param Gurudev. He said, this is like one snake hole. Don't put your hand down that snake hole. If you put your hand down that snake hole, you will get bitten. It is not possible for you to argue in court with Param Gurudev. Even the lawyers themselves, they used to go to Param Gurudev and they used to take advice. He was such an expert in law. And this way they had to withdraw their case. Another time, Param Gurudev, Babaji, they wrote an article and said, oh, Prabhupada and his followers, they're just chewing on the seed of the mango. But the rust and everything, we here in Radhakund, we are relishing the rust, we are relishing the juice of that mango. Then again, Param Gurudev, he wrote a very heavy article, completely cutting and revealing the nonsense of all the Babajis. Again, they also put the court case. But again, they had to withdraw the court case when they had to stand against Param Gurudev. So in so many ways, Param Gurudev, he defended our Sampradaya also. So many past and not so much time he's taken over. And my Pushpanjali here. If I said anything correct, this is mercy of Srila Guru Pada Padma Vaishnava. If I said anything wrong, it's my own fault, beg forgiveness.
In which
Я не знаю никакой ситуации, когда ученик
three spotless, perfect, loving, caring, strong guardians. Our Param Gurudev gave us
ученик наш Парам Гурудев дал нам трех вайшнавов совершенных. Нашего Гурудева, Вамана Госвами Махараджа и Шри Утрипикам Госвами Махараджа. Эти три личности,
whether some of us have had the fortune to associate with them or not,
с кем мы некоторые имели возможность общаться, они наши защитники, и они были столбами нашего проявленного, нашего общества. Я попытаюсь предложить нашему я пытаюсь рассказать вам то, что говорил Вамана Госвами Махарадж в день ухода его Гурудева, Парам Гурудева, в то время в нашем обществе, в день ухода нашего Парам Гурудева, много очень вайшнавов ачарьев приехали. Мы слышали от Шрила Гурудева, от вайшнавов, что наш Парам Гурудев, он не был очень он не был жадный, его сердце было большим, он давал помощь и прибежище всем. Все его духовные братья, старшие вайшнавы и младшие вайшнавы, он давал возможность во всем. Он думал, это моя Гаудия семья. И в день его ухода, поэтому вся семья, включающая всех,
In so many great acharyas, so many great
disciples, великих учеников и учеников Бхактисиданты Сарасвати Махарадж присутствовал там и предлагали ему свою Пушпанджали.
But very poignant Harikatha from Srila Vamma Maharaj. Then after his seniors spoke glories, then very humbly he took the stage.
Как все старшие рассказали Харикатху, Шрила Вамана Госвами Махарадж, он стал предлагать свою Пушпанджали. Он
said, "Oh, now that my senior god brothers, very respectfully, they have said so much about my Guru Maharaj. Now I feel like there's nothing left to say. However, I will take their order."
Он сказал, что мои старшие братья, они все рассказали, теперь уже мне нечего сказать, но все равно я должен что сказать. Я буду говорить то, что уже было сказано. Я должен повторить хотя бы то, что они сказали. С самого начала Шрила Бхактивиданта Вамана Госвами Махарадж показал свое почтение. Он всегда предлагал почтение всем своим старшим.
In his very brief Harikatha, he mentioned that his own Guru Maharaj, he had these two seemingly opposing qualities. That on one side,
из множества его хороших качеств два особо выделялись.
He was like a thunderbolt.
Шрила Бхактипраданки Шри Госвами Махарадж был как молния, а с другой стороны он был мягким, как
situations in which when Param Gurudev, he took his service very seriously.
Он очень серьезно выполнял свое служение
во время Парам Гурудева,
даже когда он был в
he saw that there was a
Бхактисиданте
great need to take care of all this land.
Он видел, что была необходимость присматривать за всей землей, которая принадлежала Бхактисиданте Сарасвати Махараджи, и он делал все, что необходимо, чтобы присматривать. Он ездил туда на лошадях,
things weren't as civil or social as they are now. Things were a lot more wild. So at that time, then, the properties of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, properties of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they had been squatted upon by Muslims and by other very difficult to deal with people. And then he went to these people and without any measure for complaint, that he told them very seriously, the property that you're on, this property is our property. We can start paying rent. So at that time, you don't have police wandering here and there. It was kind of like a wild west.
Полиция в тех местах, это было как дикий запад в те времена, и они могли что угодно с ним сделать. И ему сказали: о, кто ты такой, что ты собираешься сделать? И он тогда взял этого мусульманина, который так сказал, связал его веревкой, привязал к лошади и провез его по земле, привязал к дереву и побил.
Then you also can refuse to pay. But I won't budge it. So in this way, when faced against any obstacle towards bhakti, then Param Gurudev was aligned. He was fearless. But at the same time, he was only fearless to those obstacles. But really, the true nature of Param Gurudev was his softening of the lotus flower.
Бесстрашным к этим препятствиям, но на самом деле он был очень мягким, как роза.
I may get it wrong, unfortunately, but
мы слышали этот пример, как наш Парам Гурудев однажды повторял Дамодара Лила Аштаку нашему Парам Гурудеву и о Бхактисиданте Сарасвати Махараджи, или наш Гурудев Парам Гурудеву Дамодара Аштаку. И когда описывался стих, когда, в общем, Парам Гурудев, слыша эту аштаку, он плакал.
Was unimaginably soft. Srila Vamana Maharaj goes on to do this Pushpanjali, and then he prays to his own Guru for one, that he can follow his own Guru's words, instructions, and that he can somehow spread the glories of his Guru. In essence, Srila Vamana Maharaj, he gave us our solution in this time of perhaps confusion or conflict. There are only two things the disciple really needs to worry about. How can I follow my Gurudev? And how can I let the world know how glorious
миру знать о славе моего Гуру Махараджа, как я должен следовать моему Гурудеву, как я должен дать миру славу своего Гурудева. Это две вещи, которые должен делать ученик. Парам Гурудев, он создал очень великую армию.
By the mercy of my God brothers, by their help, then maybe, then I can fulfill his wish.
Я, может быть, смогу исполнить желание моего Парам Гурудева, моего Гурудева. Бхактивиданта Вамана Госвами Махарадж, он был Ачарий, Вамана Госвами Махарадж, после Гаудивидан Савиты, после ухода нашего Парамгурудева, Шрила Гурудев и Вайшнавы говорили, сколько смирения было в Вамана Госвами Махараджа, как он принял этот пост Ачарьи, чтобы быть лидером. Он принял этот пост только по просьбе своих Шрила Гурудева, Бхактивиданта Госвами Махараджа и всех вайшнавов. И хотя он был президентом, он хотел принимать решения независимо. Он всегда советовался с нашим гуру Махараджем и Шрилой Бхактивиданта Госвами Махарадж. Если какие-то деньги приходили, или что-то нужно было принять, или кто-то приходил за инициацией, он всегда показывал их своим двум братьям.
There is not a
trace
or cent or even a fraction of any abhiman of him being a ruler or him being in charge or boss. He had the perfect mood of a servant. Whatever position that Guru Maharaj put me in, Guru Maharaj has me wash pots, and this is the servant and I'm a das. If Guru Maharaj has me in the position of an administrator, I am still a servant. I am the das of all my great brothers. I am not their administrator. I am only a servant. I am only their servant. So Srila Maharaj exemplified so many. Even after, by the insistence of his god brothers, that he started to take disciples, his own disciples he wouldn't keep with him. Again and again we hear from the Vaishnavas how he would tell his disciples would come to him, oh, Guru Maharaj, you've given us these mantras. So you please tell us what is the meaning of these mantras. You please give us some instruction. The Vaishnavas have told us again and again how he said, if you want to know the meanings of these mantras, then you should go to Нараян Госвами Махарадж.
Его ученики, приходили и спрашивали, чтобы он объяснил им значение мантр. Вамана Госвами Махарадж посылал их к нашему гуру Нараяне Госвами Махараджу. Если вы хотите знать значение этих мантр, идите к нему. У него не было бхимана, такого, что он гуру.
So I'd just like to offer that as my offering.
Это мое подношение.
Bring them up to a level, awaken their consciousness, open their eyes with divine knowledge. So it's described that even the lame can cross the Himalayas, and an illiterate fool can recite the poetry of the Vedas. So I take shelter of my Gurudev, that I might just say a few things about Param Gurudev. We hear that he's softer than a lotus and lotus petal, and still he is strong like a lion. In the book, in the biography by Srila Narayana Maharaj Gurudev, there's one description where he is so austere that there was nothing in the, there was so little food in the bodega, in the storage. Still there was no complaint. Even if there was not enough salt or anything in the food, then still there was no complaint. And the devotees came and told Param Gurudev that, oh, there's a great Vaishnava coming and there's nothing to serve him. So at that time it's described that a bird came and dropped a bag of gold coins for him to go and purchase the proper vegetables. Anything can happen. There is no mystery when it comes to someone who is perfectly aligned in Guru Nishta. The one thing we can fully take shelter of is that Guru Nishta is the backbone of Bhakti. Srila Narayana Maharaj often, when I was traveling, he would give Harinam initiation and Diksha initiation over the Skype or over the internet, and he would always mention that
It's like the child in the womb is connected by the umbilical cord. So we have this connection. That umbilical cord is also, the analogy of that is our japamala. Never to starve our japamala. Always continue chanting and stay connected. And in that way, we can connect with all of our Guru Varga. They are all, whenever we come to sit down to Harikatha, I always hear the same mantras that all are present. All our Guru Varga are present. We just have to learn how to be receptive. So one of my favorite pastimes was told the other day, but I'll just say it once, is that Bhakti-Pradhan Keshav Maharaj went to the latrine where Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji was, and when he heard that it was the disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati Thakur, then he opened the door, even though he wouldn't open it for other authorities, and he told him that any obstacle, Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji was told to Bhakti that any obstacle that comes, you can feel that I am removing that by the austerities that I may have performed in this life. So we know that Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji is so austere personification, and all of his Shakti from that, he is passing on to us. So we get so many different avenues of power and clarity through our different acharyas. And when we can take shelter of that, then we will perfect our human life. Thank you very much.
Hearing the glories of our Param Gurudeva, I am not qualified to speak and to glorify the pure devotee, like our Param Gurudev. The pure devotees are being glorified throughout the Vedas. Even Lord Anantashesh is not able to stop speaking the glories of a pure devotee. So, how can a fallen and wretched person like me can speak and can glorify such a transcendental personality as our Param Gurudev? But I beg some mercy and some inspiration from him and from all the Vaishnavas here, and I can somehow offer some Pushpanjali. I don't want to go into repetition. We have heard so much beautiful descriptions about Param Gurudev's transcendental pastimes in this world, and how he has gifted us by offering Srila Gurudev to the world and Srila Prabhupada as well, and Srila Bhamana Maharaj, Srila Trivikram Maharaj, and all this mission that is being presented now to the whole world. Param Gurudev, he was a very bold personality. He could never fear anything. That's why his title is Acharya Keshari, Acharya like lion. Lion is the king of the forest. He doesn't fear anything. So in the same way, Srila Param Gurudev, in order to establish the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, receiving the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he fearlessly preached throughout India. He said that the same amount of preaching that Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj has done in Western countries, so Bhakti Praghna Keshav Maharaj has done in India. And in the same way, the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was totally accomplished in this last century. And for that, one very special point that I want to mention today is that Param Gurudev, he was very much into developed education. Shri Thakur, he started actually. He was the one who gave the seed of this Gaudiya Sampradaya, like a modern preaching style. When they started publishing books, printing books, using all kinds of technologies and facilities of the modern life in order to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And they were very much emphatic into creating schools, creating institutes, developing education from the very beginning of the human life. And there was one very important meeting, like a conference in Sanskrit in 1954, where all the big pandits, Sanskrit pandits and scholars, they were gathered in order to discuss and all kinds of matters related to Sanskrit language. And they invited Param Gurudev to give the opening speech. So at the time, Param Gurudev, he very boldly, he spoke in the line that Hindu word is not mentioned anywhere in the Vedas, in all the Shastras. The actual meaning of the Hindu Dharma is actually Sanatana Dharma. And this Sanatana Dharma is actually Vaishnava Dharma. And in that sense, he spoke very, very boldly against the Mayavadi philosophy of Shankaracharya. How Shankaracharya has concocted and has created his philosophy from the Vedas. But actually, that is not what they understand as Sanatana Dharma and Vaishnava Dharma. After that, so much opposition came. On the assembly, so many people started criticizing so much. But due to Param Gurudev's high scholarship, he could be able to defeat all of them. And all of them became very much grateful afterwards for all this information that they was not able to understand and to receive at that time. So Param Gurudev, he was emphatically stressing the point of that we should educate people from very beginning in order to change the society. So in the same way, Srila Gurudev is also manifesting his desires. That he wants also that the school should be developed and created for the sake of preaching from very birth. So this is the law, this is the oceanic law that our acharyas, they come to spread and to distribute to all the jivas. Because Vaishnavism is not simply chanting, taking prasadam and going for arati. Vaishnavism is the whole lifestyle. It's the science of the human existence, of the meaning of the human life, the meaning of the whole creation. So, but for that, it needs so much time for changing the whole structure of the society. And one day, I hope to see these changes. And I hope to see this whole world chanting and holding the standard of Vaishnava culture. And that may happen by the desire and by the causeless mercy of our Param Gurudev and our Guru Varga. So I will not take more time. And I beg for the words of all the Vaishnavas. And please also forgive my mistakes and my offenses. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhavacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namo.